In this video, I would like to show you how to get started with the LanguageTool plugin in Trados Studio, and in particular how to download and install the Java runtime environment and the LanguageTool package, as these components are required for the plugin to work. After installing the LanguageTool plugin, we need to open the plugin settings in the verification group. To do this, click File and Option or Project Settings, then Verification and LanguageTool. Then navigate to LanguageTool Settings. The plugin should open in the Plugin Setup tab. This is because we need to configure the plugin first. Unlike most other Trados Studio plugins, the LanguageTool plugin is not sufficient on its own to work. The LanguageTool plugin requires Java and the LanguageTool or LT package to work. The installation of these required components has caused many problems for some translators. With the new version, I decided to simplify and automate the download and installation of the JRE and the LanguageTool package. The central part of the window shows the status of the plugin setup. The upper part shows the setup status of the LanguageTool package, and the lower part shows the setup status of the JRE. As this is the first start, and we have neither Java nor the LanguageTool installed, an error is displayed and the Enable LanguageTool plugin and Start LT Server at Studio Startup checkboxes are unchecked. To install the JRE and LanguageTool, click the Run Setup Wizard button. The Setup Wizard window will appear. In the case of a default installation of both components, we do not need to select anything, just click on the Run Setup button. Then click Next to complete steps 1 to 4, downloading LanguageTool, unzipping LanguageTool, downloading JRE and unzipping JRE. Everything should be installed now. We can have a look at what the current version of the LanguageTool package and the JRE is and what versions have been installed. In this window we can also run a setup diagnostic and save the diagnostic results to a file. Click Close to return to the plugin settings. If the setup of the plugin was incorrect before running the setup wizard and the installation was successful, the first window will appear saying that the setup is now correct and asking if we want to tick the Enable LanguageTool plugin checkbox. We answer yes. Next, another pop-up window will appear saying that the setup is now correct and asking if we want to tick the Start LT Server at Studio Startup checkbox. Again, answer yes. A green tick will now appear to indicate that the setup status is correct. At this point, we can manually start the local LT server and check that the application connects to the server. To do this, click on the Start Local LT Server button. We wait for the server to start in a terminal window. You can minimize this window, but you cannot close it, as closing the window will close the LT server, and it is required for the plugin to work. Now we can click on the Test LT Server button. A window should appear with a list of supported languages. If it does, it means that the connection to the server is working properly. Now you can close the LanguageTool plugin settings window. Click OK to do this. Everything should be working now, so we just need to check that this is indeed the case. We close the studio. We also close the server window if it is running. Then we restart Studio and wait for everything to open. Once it's up and running, we check that the LanguageTool server was started at the Studio Startup. We see that it has started, so everything is okay. Now let's try to open a project and see if verification with LanguageTool works. Open a project in Files and Editor View and press F8 key to run the verification. Once the verification process is complete, we check the Messages tab to see if there are any errors detected by the LanguageTool plugin. We see that there are some errors, so everything works fine. The LanguageTool plugin works like any other global verifier module. Messages with detected errors can be found in the Messages tab. Over here, when you select a line with a detected error, the corresponding segment with the error is activated, and the affected part of the text is highlighted in the Studio editor. The error can be corrected directly in the Studio editor or by double-clicking on the line with the detected error in the Messages tab. In this case, the verification message details window will be displayed, where you can also correct the error and find a detailed explanation of the error. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope that now the setup of the LanguageTool plugin will not be a problem for you. I hope you enjoy using the LanguageTool plugin. If you have any issues setting up or using the plugin, please do not hesitate to contact me.